So many places to start, Todd. And I think the only logical place to start is, of course, Starfield. I know some, Elder Scrolls 6, when the Fallout remastered rumors, all the, we'll get to that. All right, we'll get to that, everybody watching live and watching later. When you get a show, you're allowed to ask about your favorite game. Because I was offended this morning when I went to the No Sodium Starfield subreddit, which I go to frequently, if not daily. I'm there lurking and looking. Agent Shane said, of course, watch him talk about everything but Starfield. And then, of course, on that thread, I said, I am one of you. I will get us Starfield answers or else. Todd, what the hell is going on with Starfield? Because even before I let you answer, I have never had a more wackadoo preview than what you all let me do for Starfield's upcoming content, where you let me go to a thing with a bunch of other creators and we were told you're not allowed to report on this or talk about this, but you're allowed to say you saw it. And so now, for like the last 4 months, every so often, one of them says that, people flip out thinking it's Starfield 2.0 and what's going on. Where are we? What's going on with Starfield?
No, first of all, thanks for the Reddit comment there. I'm a big Redditor, so I do read Reddit a lot. It's my sort of favorite signal to noise, platform as it comes to that stuff. And yeah, look, obviously we've been working on a lot of Starfield content. We haven't talked about it yet because, the end of last year too is particularly for us. We sort of period of time where we focus on IPs or franchises, and Fallout really obviously dominated the fall and a little bit early this year.
Big boost.
You've seen it. And I can tell everybody we're going to be talking about it, really soon. We're moving into a phase where we're ready to talk about Starfield.
Okay.
And really show that in the right way and what's coming to the game. We've been doing a lot of work that we like a lot. It is not Starfield 2.0. I've seen some of that, so I don't, for expectation setting, I think it's the kind of thing where if you love Starfield, we think you're going to love this. It's, updates and things that, change the game, not in an isolated way, but sort of, meta.
Sure.
Using outer space and things in ways that we haven't. But look, if Starfield's something that, didn't connect with you right away, or you bounced off it or found it boring in places, I don't think this is going to change that fundamentally. But if you're someone who loves Starfield, like you, Greg,
yeah.
we think it's really, really, we're really, really happy with it. We like it a lot.
I'm going to pause right here because I think he just said something that I think is very, very, very important. This will end up getting clipped out for its own video later on YouTube, which is it's not Starfield 2.0. And if you kind of bounced off some things or didn't really connect with Starfield when it first came out, it's probably not going to change your mind. But if you love Starfield, like I do and like Greg does, then it's going to be really exciting content for those of us who enjoy Starfield as a game and as a franchise. So I think that's very good to hear because he's clearly setting expectations, because the rumor mill has been going nonstop for the past 4 or 5 months ever since that event that they mentioned took place, where these creators went and signed an NDA and couldn't talk about what they saw, but they were allowed to say that they were there to start sort of this pre-hype buzz around it. And you had people going out there and making these gigantic claims about, there's a huge Starfield 2.0 revamp. It's going to be like the Cyberpunk 2.0 revamp. And I like how he's literally coming out of the gate saying, yeah, that's not true, guys. It's not Starfield 2.0. It's not going to change your mind if you already didn't like Starfield, but if you already love the game, it's going to be more cool stuff for those of you who do. Yeah, exactly, Crimson. He's basically saying haters gonna hate, and the rest of us are gonna have fun and play Starfield. So that is really exciting news for me personally. I also think it's very important for us to focus on the fact that, again, Starfield 2.0 is not a thing. It's not Starfield 2.0. It's just some additional polish and some additional stuff that those of us who love the game are going to continue to love. And those of you who hate Bethesda and hate Starfield are still going to continue to hate because it's not what you want. And I'm okay with that because it's more Starfield and I'm always going to love more Starfield. Neener, neener, neener.
And we just, we have such a big audience on the game. It's really like a Game
I'm one of
Pass
those.
hours beast in terms of Starfield for us. And we're really, really, happy with the results, and our audience is great.
Is that imminent? You're preparing. You're getting ready to talk. How close to talking are we?
It's soonish. It
Okay.
is soonish.
Soonish.
I don't want to spoil the day, but it's coming soon. Yeah.
And then I guess the next one for you to dodge is, do you feel like, is this going to put a bow on Starfield for you, for the team to then move on to all the other projects you're working on?
Look, we do have a lot of projects, and so I think balancing that with the size of our studio, we do have a lot of development partners also, but still we're relatively small, just over 500 people across everything.
Super tiny.
But that's the trick. That's the trick. Well, across Fallout
I know.
and Starfield and the Elder Scrolls work, I think balancing that, what's important for a period of time, that's kind of a trick that we find ourselves in a lot. But no, we're doing more Starfield stuff coming up. We've been laying that out, and so it's something we see continuing, for a while. We also have all the creators; they're doing amazing stuff in the game. So I think working with them also kind of keeps really good content coming into the game, and we're going to be a part of that as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that, for me is, as a Starfield sicko, as I keep saying, so impressive. As I think, as much as I have loved Fallout in the past, I was always on consoles. So the modding community, the creation community wasn't my thing for a long time. I know eventually, obviously, it came to consoles. But with Starfield having it out the gate so quickly, I've been shocked to see how much that has kept the game alive for me, of dropping in for these big additions, whether they be from Bethesda proper or whether they be from the community. And even going as far as it was 2 months ago, last month? I think it was last month, January, right? Time's a flat circle and a blur right now, where they did StarCon. Did you see this, where they did like a little Starfield digital convention? It was on Zoom all day. People came together to talk about their creations and what they were doing and where they were going. I loved it. I had such a great time.
Yeah, look, our community there is amazing. Our creators and modders who have been with us for so long, we love it. And I honestly still think it's early days for us. We're always trying to find new ways to support that community. I think the content is, absolutely incredible, but we have a ways to go in terms of making it easier for them, putting it in front of everybody, saying, hey, try this out. With our older games and creations of Fallout 4, we still have issues when we update the game. It breaks mods, and so we see all that. So we still feel like, even though we've been doing this type of thing for several decades, that we're still early in what that looks like for everybody.
So take me from that last statement to the general future of Bethesda games, right? You make this game, you make this type of game, you make this thing.
I want to pause real quick before he goes any further because I am someone who only recently started getting into mods because of Starfield. I've played Bethesda games for years. I never really worried about mods before this. And then watching Babylonia Rising and his community who are heavy into the modding scene, I got Watchtower and played with that and really enjoyed it. And recently I started a fresh Starfield playthrough for funsies a few days ago, and there was a whole bunch of new like Bethesda stuff, and then they had in that category of Bethesda mods, there was a bunch of mods from community members that they were promoting that were free that you could add on to the Starfield base game. So the first thing I did before I started my recent Starfield from scratch playthrough for funsies was I just installed all of those mods. And I think that that's a really interesting, for me, just starting to wet my feet with the modding community and the mods that are there. If you look at Fallout and Elder Scrolls Online, they've got decades of modding behind them. Starfield's been out 2 years. So if you look at the amount of content that is available out there for games like Skyrim, Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 4, Fallout 3, etc., there's decades of mods, and we're 2 years into Starfield, and with the whole 1,000 planets, there's I feel like there's a bigger space to explore while also realizing that we're playing on the word space there. And I really am excited for what they've got coming down the pipeline for the rest of this. As they continue to evolve the game and to get into, deeper into the modding community. And personally, on a personal note, I am looking forward to getting deeper into the modding scene myself, specifically with Starfield. Not so much with the other games, but I mean, Starfield is my favorite Bethesda game at this point, and I really do enjoy every time I jump in that game, 600 plus hours, I uncover something new. And with all of the mods that are coming out now, I just saw a new ship mod that they were promoting on their social media the other day. It looks really cool. So kudos to them for continuing to focus on that.
Do you see that changing? Think the way you listen to this show, the way we talk about Bethesda games, open world RPGs in general, expanded out for the video game world, you hear so much about, well, the Bethesda engine, and then me talking about like, yo, Bethesda makes Bethesda games, and so it's silly for us to show up and think you're going to get
Bethesda
something
makes
different.
Bethesda
But
games.
as we
Yes.
see the success of Baldur's Gate 3 and all the choices and consequences there, as we see people continue to push it and get nerdy with it, I think of the Outer Worlds 2 and the way they did perks and stuff like this. Like, do you guys batten down the hatches and you're committed to your engine and this is what we're making and this is how it's going to be, or are you letting things come in, influence, and do you see that changing as everything evolves?
I mean, I think if you look at our games, we've sort of always evolved. We do have a certain style that we like and our fans like that we want to get better and better at. I think in some ways, well, in many ways, Fallout 76 and Starfield are
Sure.
a little bit of a
Sure.
creative detour from kind of that classic Elder Scrolls Fallout, a Skyrim or a Fallout 3 or a Fallout 4, Oblivion, where you're exploring a world in a certain way. And, as we come back to Elder Scrolls 6 that we're doing now, we're coming back to that kind of classic style that we've missed, that we know really, really well. You talked about, tech and things like that. We spent the last, several years bringing Creation Engine 2, which powers Starfield, up to Creation Engine 3, that's going to power Elder Scrolls 6 and beyond.
New creation engine.
And, obviously we do all the rendering things. We're really happy with the new stuff that we're doing, but also kind of world systems loading, how we bring things into the world, how we get that detail close to the camera kind of immediately. And so, but it's still, we have a style of game that we really, really like that I think people expect from us.
Sure.
And there's a lot of innovation to be done there still, so that when you step into a world, you feel like you're experiencing it really for the first time, a game like that. And I think, we're happy with where it's headed right now. That's what I could say.
Okay. In that, I mean, you brought it up. You said the Elder Scrolls 6. So I mean, like,